Chapter 8. The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. Section 1. In the days of old Japan, there lived an honest old couple who owned a little farm. They were hard-working and kind-hearted, and though they were poor, they were content with what little they had. Their home was a small, humble cottage, nestled among the hills, surrounded by a few fields where they grew rice and vegetables. The old man and his wife lived a simple life, tending to their crops and taking care of their pet dog, Shiro, whom they loved dearly. Shiro was no ordinary dog. He was as white as snow and had the sharpest sense of smell. The couple had found Shiro as a stray puppy wandering in the fields and had taken him in with open arms. Since then, the dog had become their faithful companion, always by their side, whether in the house or out in the fields. He followed the old man wherever he went and never strayed far from his master's sight. One morning, the old man was out in the field, digging and preparing the soil for planting, with Shiro close by. The old man hummed a cheerful tune as he worked, enjoying the fresh morning air and the sound of birds chirping in the distance. Suddenly, Shiro began to bark excitedly and started digging furiously at a spot in the field. The old man was puzzled.
"What is it, Shiro?"
he asked, watching as the dog dug deeper into the ground. Shiro barked and wagged his tail, urging his master to dig at the same spot. Intrigued, the old man grabbed his spade and began to dig where Shiro had indicated. To his great surprise, after digging a few feet, he uncovered a large pile of gold coins buried beneath the earth.
"Gold!"
the old man exclaimed in disbelief, his eyes widening with astonishment. He could hardly believe his luck. He called out to his wife, who came running to see what had happened. Together they stared at the treasure that lay before them. The old couple was overjoyed. They had lived in poverty for so long, and now, thanks to their beloved dog, they had found a treasure that would change their lives forever. They praised Shiro for his cleverness, and from that day on, they took even better care of him, giving him the finest food they could afford, and treating him with the utmost kindness. However, as is often the case, news of the couple's good fortune soon spread throughout the village. The couple had a neighbor, a greedy old man, who became envious of their newfound wealth. This neighbor was always on the lookout for ways to increase his own riches, and when he heard about the treasure, he grew jealous. One day, the greedy neighbor approached the old man with a sly smile.
"I heard that your dog Shiro found a great treasure for you,"
he said.
"Would you lend him to me for a day? Perhaps he can do the same for me."
The kind old man was hesitant, but being generous by nature, he agreed.
"Shiro is a good dog,"
he said.
"but you must treat him well."
The neighbor nodded eagerly and took Shiro away. He led the dog to his own field and in an impatient voice ordered him to dig.
"Come on, find me some treasure,"
he shouted. But Shiro did not bark or wag his tail as he had done before. He simply stood there, confused and unwilling to dig. The greedy man grew angry. He grabbed a spade and began digging furiously where Shiro had been standing, hoping to unearth a hidden treasure. Instead of gold, the neighbor found nothing but dirt and rocks. In a fit of rage, he accused Shiro of deceiving him and beat the poor dog with a heavy stick. Shiro let out a painful yelp and ran back to his master's house, wounded and frightened. When the old man and his wife saw Shiro limping home, they were heartbroken. They scolded the neighbor for his cruelty, but it was too late. Shiro never recovered from the beating, and a few days later, the faithful dog passed away. The old couple mourned the loss of their beloved pet and buried him beneath a pine tree in their yard, shedding tears for their loyal. Section 2. Though Shiro was gone, the couple continued to honor his memory. One night, the old man had a dream. In the dream, Shiro appeared to him and said,
"Cut down the pine tree where I am buried and make a mortar from its wood. Use the mortar, and it will bring you good fortune."
The old man woke up, determined to follow the instructions from his dream. He went to the pine tree the next morning, cut it down, and carved a beautiful mortar from the wood. He and his wife used the mortar to pound their rice, and to their astonishment, the rice grains turned into gold coins with every stroke of the pestle. Once again, the couple rejoiced at their good fortune, and once again, the news of their success reached the greedy neighbor. Filled with envy, the neighbor came to the old man and said,
Lend me your mortar. I hear it has brought you great luck.
Reluctantly, the old man agreed. He lent the mortar to the neighbor, but he warned him to be careful and use it with respect. The greedy neighbor, however, was not interested in being careful. He grabbed the mortar and hurried home, eager to try his luck. But when he used the mortar to pound his rice, instead of turning into gold, the rice turned into foul-smelling sludge. Furious, the neighbor smashed the mortar to pieces and threw it into the fire. When the old man found out what had happened, he was deeply saddened. He had lost not only his beloved dog, but now the mortar that had been made in Shiro's memory was destroyed as well. However, that night, Shiro appeared to him in another dream.
Do not be sad.
Shiro said,
Collect the ashes of the mortar from the fireplace and scatter them on the barren trees. You will see what happens.
The old man did as he was told. The next morning, he went to the neighbor's house, collected the ashes of the burnt mortar, and brought them back to his yard. He scattered the ashes on the bare trees that stood nearby, and to his amazement, the trees burst into full bloom, covered with beautiful cherry blossoms. The old couple was overjoyed to see the trees in full bloom, even though it was winter. Word of this miraculous event quickly spread, and soon the news reached the local lord, who ruled over the village. The lord came to see the blooming trees for himself, and was so impressed that he rewarded the old man with riches and gifts, praising him for his kindness and wisdom. Meanwhile, the greedy neighbor, seeing the success of the old man once again, tried to replicate the miracle. He collected the remaining ashes from the fireplace and threw them on the barren trees in his yard, hoping they would bloom as well. But instead of blossoms, the ashes blew into the wind and caused a great cloud of dust, irritating the eyes and noses of everyone around. The lord, who had been nearby, was angered by the neighbor's foolishness and punished him for his greed. The neighbor, humiliated and ashamed, lost all his respect in the village, while the old man and his wife continued to live a peaceful and prosperous life, always remembering the faithful dog, Shiro, who had brought them such good fortune.